But we really enjoy staying here and being part of the city and all the things you can do here. And the Rangers is obviously a huge part of the city and for us, the entire experience. So I felt like year 3, that was, it turned to from traveling here and work to, okay, I'm coming home. I remember that feeling, that fall coming. It took some time to adjust to all the new things, but since then, it's become my home. And
So quiet. What a great event we got going here. Come on, Hanky. Rolls right out.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Certainly a special day, historic day for us, for the Rangers. I was texting with Larry here yesterday just about Larry Brooks, about some of Hank's accomplishments, and just, it's hard to put into words. And I said to Larry, of Hank's 1,017 combined Ranger games, how many were you here for? He guessed about 950, and I'm sure you're going to do the research and come back and give me a real number, but you couldn't got him a front row seat? Next time.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. This is obviously a fantastic day for the organization, for Henrik and his family, for all our fans. It's a day that I think we all had penciled in a long time ago, way before you announced your retirement. So certainly a well-deserved honor, and we're all thrilled to be part of it. I'd like to thank Jim Dolan and our entire staff at the Rangers. They put a lot of hours into this event, as they should have, and it's going to be a first-class special event for you, Hanky, as it should be. So there's certainly a special place in hockey for hockey moms, as we all know. But as you get older and you play pro hockey, and I was fortunate enough to do that, there's a special place for hockey wives. And there's certain nothing like having the support at home that I know you provide, Therese, to Hank for all these years, and Charlize and Julie as well. And without your love and support at home, maybe he doesn't get to where he is today. So thank you from all of us and all the fans. I was leaving my office today, and there's a stick rack with all kind of the who's who of Ranger sticks. There's a Richter stick, a Graves stick, Mass, Leach, you name it. And I've walked by it 1,000 times and never really thought twice about it. And today I just picked one up, and it was righty. And I looked down, and it was a Rod Gilbert stick. And obviously, he's not here with us today. He would love to be here with us today, and I know how much he adored and loved Hanky as a person and a player. And for sure, he's going to have a lot of fun tonight, surrounded by Ranger fans with a big smile on his face, watching Hank's number and name go up to the rafters. So we certainly miss him around here at the Garden, but he'll be having a lot of fun watching tonight. So I've talked to Hank about this in the past a number of times, and since I started working back here at the Rangers, and I get asked a lot. Sometimes by reporters, sometimes by fans, sometimes by family. What is a Ranger? What does that mean? And I could honestly say, knowing Hank and played with Hank, that he's given me the easiest answer I'll ever have to answer. And we want to be like Hank. That's his desire, his determination, his will to win, his dedication to his craft, along with his talent and his skill level. His commitment to the community, the city, the Garden of Dreams, the Henrik Lundqvist Foundation. He is, for me, the gold standard of what a New York Ranger is, and what a New York Ranger should be for this generation of player. And I don't think the organization or our fan base or myself can ever thank you enough for being that gold standard for us. It was an honor to call you a friend and a teammate, and you deserve everything you've gotten, and really looking forward to seeing tonight. So. Thank you, Hank. With that said, I'd like to bring up Glenn Sather, who was here through Hank's whole term as a Ranger. Thank you, everyone.
Well, we should clap for that. Thank you. Well, I saw Henrik play in Gothenburg in 2004, I think it was. And he won the game. I was there with an agent by the name of Paul Theophanis, and I said, this is the next one. And I'd only seen him one game. And there was something about him, the way he electrified the crowd, the way he was poised, the way he conducted himself. I met him after, and we were going to have a drink in the bar, and there was a lineup. And I figured, well, I'm with Henrik Lundqvist, so I have no problem getting in here. Well, he didn't tell the people who he was. He just stood in line with Theophanis and I. We were outside for about 20 minutes. Finally, we got in, had a beer, and went home. But it sort of tells you how humble he is and what kind of a person he is. And Larry, you may have watched 900 and some games of Hank's, but I think I watched every game of Hank's. Road, away, exhibition, training camp, practices. And there aren't many people that I can say, and I've been around hockey over a lot of great hockey players. And I can't say that I've seen anybody that worked harder, cared more, took care of his teammates, not only told them to get going when they had to get going, and encouraged them when the encouragement was there. And he's the epitome of a New York Ranger as far as I'm concerned. And I used to say, if you look well, you'll play well. Well. There you go. Sort of explains everything. But this franchise has been very fortunate to have a player like Henrik here for all these years, and he's going to be around for a lot longer. And, I was kind of set back last year when I heard he was having some health problems, and I called him, and not a problem. I'm going to take care of it, and he's taking care of it. So thank you for taking good care of him. And I know you had a lot to do with it. I'd like to introduce the next one, Henrik Lundqvist.
Thank you, Glenn. First off, I want to thank Mr. Dolan and his family for this huge honor. And, Mr. Dolan, I met him back in '05, and it's been great to get to know him and to feel that support. And I'm not just saying that because he's been the owner, but he's been coming in after so many wins. I've been sitting in my stall and just enjoying that win, and he comes in and all fired up and thank me. And you know, as a player, when you feel that support from the top, it goes a long way. So I want to thank him for that support since day one. And I also want to thank him for, you know, allowing this to happen. And that leads me to the Rangers, Drew, and Glenn, and everybody within the organization. You guys, I've been sitting down with my wife in meetings since September to plan this, and it's going to be amazing to experience it tonight. I can't wait to have my friends and family here and share this moment. It means so much to me. And, you know, when I came here, I didn't know what to expect. I just wanted to play hockey. I just want to live my dream. And thinking back now, I don't know how many times I had to pinch myself and it's like, I'm really living my dream here. To come to a place where people care so much, where they treat you so well, to play in Madison Square Garden, to live in New York City. I mean, the list is so long why my journey here has been so special to me and my family. It's been absolutely amazing. And I'm so happy that I got to experience everything, all the friendships and, you know, moments in this building. But it really started, you know, from the top, and to feel that support. And with Glenn, I really felt the support from you since I came here. And I remember that dinner too. It was a great night. I was so nervous. I wanted to show strength and confidence, and I was hoping that you would believe in me. And it's been so fun to come over here and get to know you and you know, create the relationship we have today. And it's come up a few times throughout my career. A couple of the trainers, you know, when I watch Richter, Adam, a couple other guys retire, and they said, Hank, it's going to be you one day. And I was just laughing. And it's like, no, it's too hard to imagine. But when they said, you know, when Drew, you called me this fall and said it's going to happen this year, my first reaction, my first thought was, I can't wait to come back here and thank everyone. It's a lot of times when you say it to the people that really been there and helped you. You know, I practiced this a few times, but now when I say it to you guys, thank you so much for everything. I'm so happy and grateful for everything. And Therese, my kids, thank you so much. I can't wait to share this night with you guys and my family, friends. A lot of people ask me leading up to this night, are you going to cry? And I said, if I cry, I cry. I just want to walk out here tonight and be in the moment and just feel as much as I can feel. This past 15 years been the best 15 years of my life being part of this organization. So this means everything to me and my family. Thank you so much.
Henrik, congratulations, and thank you for your amazing professionalism over the years.
Thank you.
That's on behalf of all the media. What did it mean to play your entire career in one place for this organization in this building, Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, to me, it was only one team. Obviously, you don't know that when you start a career, but after a few years, the commitment and the relationship I had towards the organization and the way they treated me, I felt like this is home. And it's funny how I felt that early. Within a year or so, I felt like this is home. And you know, I've said this in a few interviews. You know, when my time was up here and I struggled so much, I couldn't really see myself play anywhere else. I really struggled, and we went back and forth. Me and my wife, and my closest friends, like, doesn't feel right. But I still love the game. I still really enjoy going to the rink, so I went for it. And then in the end, you know, the heart said no. And I look back at it and kind of laughed at, you know, how much I struggled to, you know, try to go somewhere else. But all along, I know this is the place, and I'm really proud that I, you know, played my entire career in New York City and for the New York Rangers.
Hey, Hank, congrats. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, enjoy the night.
Thank you.
Just, first off, it's great to see you healthy. With good health, what would you like to do in hockey or with hockey going forward?
Well, yeah, right now I think I have the perfect setup. You know, I'm staying connected to the organization through MSG Networks, but I also have a lot of different things I want to explore and different people I want to meet and get inspired by different things. So, you know, I had a great meeting with Mr. Dolan when I came back from Sweden this fall, and we sat down and talked about what's next. And I told him I want to stay connected to the organization, but I also want to do other things, and let's start with MSG Networks. And I really enjoy working there with Steve and John and the crew they have there. It's been awesome. I'm going to continue doing that, but then I have other things. I have projects in Sweden and here in New York. And I think for the longest time, my focus was on performing and achieving different things. I think my biggest focus right now is to be happy, feel good, be inspired. Yeah, it's been a great fall.
And congratulations. You've been an ace your whole career. It's an honor to have covered you. I think we all feel that way. How proud are you to be a true New Yorker after all this? And you started out, you said you got the feeling right away, but how proud to be one of us here in New York?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we feel so good about living here, raising our kids here, also not something you don't know where life is going to take you when you move here and leave everything in Sweden and completely change your life. But we really enjoy staying here and being part of the city and all the things you can do here. And the Rangers is obviously a huge part of the city and for us, the entire experience. So I felt like year 3, that was, you know, it turned from traveling here and work to, okay, I'm coming home. I remember that feeling, that fall coming. It took some time to adjust to all the new things, but since then, it's become my home, and it's our kids' home, and they really question why we were going home well, I say home, go back to Sweden for Christmas. Like, why? I was like, it's the first time we can do that in a long time. But yeah, they're used to this place now, and we all love it.
When you look back at your legacy here and all you've accomplished, missing the Stanley Cup, was it more about sort of that quest that you can leave, you know, comfortable not having gotten there, or is that something that you still do kind of think about?
It's a Good question. I think the quest for, going after something for so long, it gives you a reason, it gives you a passion for something. And that's what I think was the most important thing for so many years, all the memories, all the big games we played in here. That was part of it. Of course, we wanted to win. We had a window of really good teams and opportunities to win. It didn't happen, but when I think back, it's all about what happened and not so much what didn't happen. And I'm extremely grateful for all the big years we had, but mostly, I've seen a few videos now from teammates, and that really gets me going. It brings you back to that time and the different teams you had. Yeah, you realize how lucky you were to be on different teams for so many years and create those friendships. So I look forward to see a few guys tonight and just stay connected with a lot of guys around the league.
Dan? We've got time for a couple more for Henrik after that.
Hank, congratulations.
Thank you.
I wanted to go back to what Glenn mentioned that night in Gothenburg, and you brought it up. You said you remember the night. What were you feeling? What was what was the conversation like, if you remember it? And did you have an idea that you might be the next one? If Glenn said it, did you have an idea you might be?
No, my feeling, playing in Sweden, all my focus was on playing in Sweden. And I had really 3 strong years. I felt well prepared coming here to New York. That was a big thing for me, to feel prepared for this. But then, in a way, I had to start over. It didn't matter that, I've had some success in Sweden for a few years. It's like I have to prove to everyone, the organization, the fans, teammates, that I can do this. I remember our dinner in Gothenburg. It was more about, honestly, I don't know what it was about. He was there to watch me play, and I tried to play as good as I could that night, and it was just things happened pretty quickly after that. It was a few months later, and something new, happened. A new change and started my life.
Henrik, congratulations. After you were drafted in 2000, the Rangers twice selected goalies in the first round. Did you start to doubt that the team had enough faith in you to get that opportunity?
To me, the draft is, unless you're first overall, you could go either way. I try not to, especially when I was selected myself. I was happy to get drafted. But you realize also how much work you have ahead of you to even get a chance to play, and you see other players get drafted. There's so many things that needs to happen before it's time, if it ever happens. So I never really thought much about the draft more than I was super happy to get drafted by the Rangers. But after that, it was more back to work and think about what I needed to do.
Thank you, Henrik.
All right. Thanks, guys. I want to thank everyone, all the media. A lot of you guys have seen you for so many years, and I didn't have an opportunity to say thank you, when things ended. But you guys have been part of my journey as well. I've seen you so many times in the locker room. So thanks for the respect you showed me for so many years, and it's been fun. We kind of work together, all these memories, and talk about them for so many years. So I appreciate what you guys gave me as well. Thank you. All right.
For Mike, when you first saw Henrik play and start to develop, like, obviously you must have an expert opinion. Well, what did you think about his potential when you first saw him?
I would not say I'm an expert opinion. I'd say anybody who drafted him saw something special in him. And the position of goaltending has changed so much over the years. And Henrik everybody's got a unique style, but his fundamentals were fantastic that I saw early. But what you don't know and can't know is what he has, in his heart and between his ears. And the Rangers did some homework and figured out that you have a special athlete there, a special person. And as Henrik said, getting drafted is not the end. It's what you do on that preparation. It's a tough league to get a job in, and a really tough league to secure a position and be the best at the top of your craft. And he was able to do that. And it's not just because he had good technique that I could see. It was because how he approached the game. And that was very clear to me early on. Just talking to Rammer, the trainer, and Benny, the coach, and guys that are around him. Of course, I wasn't in the locker room. I don't know how he reacts to everything, but you get a sense for how this guy approaches the game. And that's what puts some distance between an average player and a special player. And his approach, anybody who watched him over the years, you don't get that success because you have good technique. You get it because you have something very special inside you that makes you work when you're still the best. And it just, kept happening in such a consistent manner. And that's a real tribute to how we approach the game. So I just, to answer your question directly, I couldn't tell you that he's going to be what he ended up being. The first time I saw him, I thought he looked pretty damn good. There's no question about that. Seeing reruns of his first game was really impressive, his poise and whatnot. But like he said, one of the top leagues in the world and had a lot of success. The way he approached the game, I have so much respect for that. Yeah.
Hey guys, with due respect to the both of you, of course, you know the history of this organization, this franchise. Is Henrik the best player ever for the Rangers?
I'm going to give that to my friend Adam.
And looking at his entire body work, and like Glenn, I can remember sitting up in the corner and watching that first training camp, because I was in for training camp, and I will tell you, although I wasn't here for every game, I pretty much watched every one of Hank's games, and when I think about Hank, I always felt like any time he was in the net, he was going to give the Rangers a chance to win. And like Mike, that's the special part when you have that access and you go to the training center. And I'll never forget just watching him in net in practice, and guys would come down and literally, like, inside the hash marks, wiring it, and he's putting his shoulder and his head into it and all these things. It was like when we tried to score on Mike in practice, he wanted his net empty and he'd get mad because sometimes there'd be a rebound and I'd put it into the empty net. He'd grab the puck and fire it by my head in the corner. But it's for me, it's that dedication, that hunger, that compete, and certainly Hank is as good as any player that's ever put on the uniform and certainly represented it both in the city and throughout the world. And you see all the stuff he's doing. I can remember sitting with Hank with the Garden of Dreams and talking about the future. And this is probably over a decade ago. And then him starting his own foundation and all the great work that he's done. And I know that I've been on the other end asking him for different things and there was never a no, it was always a yes. And certainly it's hard to argue with his body of work that no one has worn that jersey or will wear that jersey both on and off the ice like Hank has.
Hey guys, good to see you. Can you maybe describe, is there a sense of brotherhood that the few of you who have had jerseys retired by this organization feel amongst yourselves? Is it kind of like a former president's club or, something like that?
Well, I mean, I can say that it's such a unique and humbling honor. Yeah, you do share that with each other. you see how people react when they're told, and as Henrik said, you can't understand what it means when you're told that initially. And then over the years, it becomes even more meaningful, right? You don't get to play anymore, and yet you keep that connection to the organization, to the fans, to that part of your life in a way you never otherwise could. And I mean, it's about as good of an honor as you could possibly get, and it's why it's not given out a lot. But it's so meaningful, and you see how he's moved after all that he's been through and all that he's accomplished. That's a really special thing to be bestowed on you. So I would say there is a bit of a brotherhood there, and not to try to separate you, but this thing is kind of indescribably important as a player. Same.
Yeah, and certainly bringing the generations together. And I will say that because one of our dearest and one of my dearest friends was Rod. And although I didn't play with Rod, he was part of my family. And if, when we talk about that privilege of putting that jersey on, and as Hank has said, it's about the people and about the journey, and this is a continuation of that journey. And I know we're thrilled and very proud to be here today and being a part of this special day.
Mike, did winning the Stanley Cup define you, and how would you define Hank's legacy?
It defines you to a degree, but this is the great and terrible aspect of sports. It can't, because you have next season. And if you're happy with what you did last year, you're kind of useless to your organization this year. Every practice, every game is a new chance to begin anew. And I said this, and I'll always believe that those players, and I was lucky to play with quite a few of them, one sitting next to me here, who begins every day anew and tries to be as good as he can possibly be. Wring out every bit of your potential. Look at Brian Leach, and to your question, is he the best ever? I don't know how to answer that, because there's clearly, you have to ask that question with Hank. I've never seen anybody better, but I did play with Leachy, I did play with Mess, I did play with Adam, and I watched the way they prepared, and I can answer what they were in a locker room. Nobody's that good without having incredible desire, an incredible focus, and an incredible ability to start anew every year, every game. And that, to me, is all you can control, particularly as a goalie. You may win the cup, you may not. And it's not like you don't have an outcome in every game. Hank certainly showed that he did. But you can only play as well as you can play. And I have not experienced many goaltenders in my life that can come to the rink, as Adam says, and give his chance to team to win like this guy did. And that's what you're asked to do, and nobody asks more of himself than him, and nobody delivered more, in my opinion, than him in that regard.
With Alan, we have time for a couple more after.
Thank you. It's always great to see both of you guys, of course. This one's for Adam. Adam, we've shared a bunch of these nights. Andy Bathgate, Harry Howell, the gag line was honored. Your generation was honored. How emotional is it to see Hank now represent that new generation of Rangers up in the rafters with you guys?
Well, and I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but I was asked the other day, describe Hank in one word, and this question the first thing that came to my mind was cool, because I always saw it. And then maybe that's an old term, but I just, for me, it was just, I just enjoyed, because I followed as much as I was really close, I followed from afar, and the interesting part, Alan, is as much as you played and you were lucky enough to wear that jersey, you become a fan. I'm a fan. Didn't miss a game. In fact, if I didn't see it live, I watched highlights or I watched a shortened version that was sent to me. So I didn't miss a game. And for me, you talk about the generations, and certainly Hank he's one of those special people, and I think in the history of the Rangers, I don't think you'll find someone that is so New York in every way, in the community, in the net, his compete, his hunger, his dress, everything. We all know Hank. So for me, yes, it's fantastic. And I think when you talk about an organization that's been around close to 100 years, and to have representation and continue to have representation, and certainly it doesn't get any better than the last 15 years with Hank.
Great to see you both again. Did either of you have a chance to offer any advice to Hank when he was playing, either about playing for the Rangers or, Mike, in your case, playing goal?
Yeah, I'd like to say that Hank really didn't know how to skate well when he came here, and I fixed that. I do remember talking to him a few times, and one of the things, you get a lot of sense of who he is just from other people around him, and Jim Ramsey is the trainer that everybody knows, and he just talked about his work ethic, and I think one of the things great players have is a standard that they set for themselves. No coach, no GM, no scout's going to ask more of themselves than they do, and Hank had that, and you have to wrestle with that your whole life in order to have that balance of demanding perfection every night and understanding that it doesn't always happen, and then coming back renewed and ready to roll the next morning at a practice in the middle of February when you're beat up and you're tired and all of that. And I think Jim was saying he's so intense that all of us can get. He's got some of you in him, Mike, and so I didn't have information that was going to be particularly important for Hank. I remember talking to him here and there, but the guy's a professional. He knew how to get himself going, and I think whether you're talking about Wayne Gretzky or Brian Leach, Mark, they figure that stuff out at a young age, whether their body's still intact and they've got this great potential in front of them. When he leaves the world of hockey, the amount of experience he has and the ability to play at his best has never been better. It's just, you're getting older and you can't stay in the game forever. He came with a huge portion of that already intact when I saw him. So, to answer your question directly, no, I didn't have an awful lot other than, you have to have this incredible balance of patience, man, and don't lose a second of that journey, because one day it's over. And it's interesting talking about, being emotional about it. You put your whole life into this moment, you put your whole life into that career, and every moment matters because you just get so few of them. Even on a 15-year career, incredible career that he had, it's over. And then, that's why this moment is so emotional and so important and so profound for players that are lucky enough to achieve it. But no, I didn't think there's much I could add to this guy. He had it when he came here in his suitcase, that's for sure.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody.